All right, hello everybody. I hope you're all having a good night or day or whatever it is that you're doing. I want to give a little bit of what I think is kind of a good idea, right? Is just to do kind of like a freestyle or freeform technical analysis lesson. I got a lot of experience in trading. I hate to talk about it, yay me, but all of my marketing people are like, "Oh, you got to talk yourself up," blah blah blah. Anyway, let's just put it this way: I've been around the block a few times, and I have I'm pretty competent when it comes to technical analysis. Now, when we see a lot of these lessons, or they're in my day, people read books, but now it's more like, these YouTube shorts, or it's getting advice from people that don't really know what they're talking about, or maybe they've only been around in a good market, whatever. You take it for what it is. I'm going to go through some of these things, and we're just going to do a real time technical analysis lesson. It's almost like an improv. Now, the reason why I picked an eagle is because I saw something about eagles on TV today, and I don't even remember what it was. So I figure, let me just bring up an Eagles stock. And I'm not talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't really care about football that much anymore. Now that UConn's won the NCAA tournament, I am once again, well, I never wasn't, but I went to UConn, and it's just so great watching that basketball. But you know what? I'm going to put an Eagles thing just to get some traffic, and hopefully I can help you people from Philadelphia figure out how to make money. I mean, I'm agnostic. I don't care where you come from. Anyway, here's American Eagle. Now, what is technical analysis? In my opinion, it's an analysis of what price levels are important, what the trends are, what the momentum is, what's the market psychology. It's not about, you know, Elliott wave or Fibonacci. When we look at a chart, we need to look at it through the prism of what does this tell us about supply and demand? What does this tell us about market psychology? And we could see some things here. Okay, so I just randomly brought up this chart based on the fact that I'm kind of on the Eagle groove. Now, here's American Eagle, symbol is AEO, and I'm going to just put in this little uh, price level thing here, line. I'm going to put that at 14. Now, what does this show? Well, somehow miraculously, well, I don't want to say miraculous because I leave that for religion, but somehow amazingly, the level back in December of 22, around 14, that was support, right? It got down to 1380. It might look like it got below, but come on, we're talking about pennies here. The level that was support somehow became resistance in April. So this is December, this is April. So it's 5 or 6 months later. How could a level that was support somehow turn into resistance? This is because of psychology. It's because of buyer's remorse, believe it or not. And believe it because it's true. There are investors who bought here who thought they did a great job. The market goes up. But when it goes below their level, a lot of these investors, they're now losing money, and they tell themselves, man, I made a mistake. I want to get out, but I don't want to lose any money. So if it gets back up to my price level, I'm going to sell it so I can get out at break even. So you got these remorseful buyers placing sell orders at the level that had been support. If there are enough of these sell orders, like there was here, the level that was support can turn into resistance. So, important principle of markets: some price levels are more important than others, as just how it is. Sometimes we know why, and sometimes we don't. All right, now that I'm actually kind of going freeform on this bad boy here, and I like Philadelphia. I saw some great Grateful Dead shows there. Talk about improvisation. They were like the masters of improv. But anyway, oh, look at this. This important $14 level was resistance before it came support and before it became resistance. How could a level that was resistance amazingly somehow convert into support before converting back into resistance? Well, this is seller's remorse. There's people who sold here who thought they made a great decision when the market went down, but then it goes higher, and a lot of them tell themselves, man, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have sold. I'm going to buy my shares back, but I'm only going to do so if I can get them for the same price I sold them at. So if you have enough of these remorseful sellers placing their buy orders at the level that was resistance, resistance can convert into support. I guess I should have prefaced this, but what is resistance? Well, when a market is going higher, there's not enough supply or sellers to fill all of the demand, or buyers or buy orders. When we get to a resistance level, the tide turns. For whatever reason, the sellers come out of the woodwork and supply overcomes demand. And some of the sellers, people have been watching this market go higher, are like, wow, it's not going higher anymore. How is that possible? Well, it's got to be because there's new sellers coming in the market. We know that when prices are going higher, there's not enough selling or sellers to fill the supply. If it stopped going higher, well, guess what? All of a sudden, there's a bunch of sellers in the market. And then some of these sellers start to worry, like, oh man, if I want to sell my shares, I better reduce the price I'm willing to sell at, because the buyers are going to go to whoever is willing to sell at the lowest price. You might be willing to sell at 14, but if someone's willing to sell at 13.95, that's who the buyers are going to go to. So the sellers start undercutting each other, and you get this snowball effect. So getting to resistance, coming off of it is a psychological thing. Has nothing to do with what they're saying on CNBC or Fox Business or in some chat room somewhere. Psychology. Forget the news. Forget what they're telling you on the news. Reading charts and trading in this kind of style is understanding investment psychology. Now, why would resistance become support? Well, we talked about it. Seller's remorse. Now think about this. Why would something come off of a support level? It's the exact opposite of what we just talked about. People who want to buy are watching this thing go lower and lower and lower. And all of a sudden they notice, oh, gee, I'm not going lower anymore. Why would something go lower? Well, there's not enough buyers or demand to absorb all of the supply. These investors or traders, all of a sudden they realize, oh, gee, the price isn't going any lower. That must mean there's new buyers coming into the market. That's why it's not going any lower. I better raise the price I'm willing to pay, because if there's someone who's willing to pay a higher price than me, that's who the sellers are going to go to. I might be willing to pay 14, but if someone else is willing to pay 14.05, that's who the sellers are going to go to. So then you get the buyers outbidding each other. So this chart right here, which I just picked kind of randomly, shows us a lot about chart reading, and any chart does if you look it through the right prism. And that's why you got to check back over here at Stock Market Jobber, because I don't want to promote myself, but so much of the stuff out there in technical analysis is garbage. I mean, it's really embarrassingly bad. In the institutional world, people worry about this stuff. What's the psychology? What's the trend? What are the levels? No one's talking about, oh, look at this Fibonacci angle or this. So resistance turns into support because of seller's remorse. Support can turn into resistance because of buyer's remorse. Things come off of resistance because of sellers getting anxious and undercutting each other. Things bounce off of support because buyers are getting anxious and outbidding each other. All right. Thank you, everybody. Please check back soon. This is kind of a random, off-the-cuff technical analysis lesson, and I think these are good things to look at if you really want to learn. And please make sure you check back soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.